All right. If you want to look up in your Bibles, open your Bibles to Psalm 30. I'm just going to read Psalm 30, verse 11 and 12. I typically don't patronize the holidays as far as like what I study for Sunday school and things like that, but Thanksgiving is probably the most honest holiday that as Christians we have besides Resurrection Sunday. And we observe that, and we observe Thanksgiving too. And I feel that it's one of the things that's highly neglected in our lives. And so I'm glad. I like Thanksgiving. I like this holiday, and I like what it, I don't know, the older I get, I don't know, your perspective starts to change about some things, and you should start to spend a little more time doing different things than you did when you were younger. And I'm trying. It's something that I feel doesn't happen naturally, but it's something you ought to be working on. And it should be the natural progression of things, I think, if you work on it consistently. But it's got to be done on purpose, because there's a million other things to fill your mind. It's amazing, especially this week. It seems like all of us in my house is forgetting something. We forgot half the stuff we were saying. And I thought to myself last night, I need to set a reminder for that thing so that I don't forget it in the morning. And I didn't do it. Then I got up this morning and I seen this thing I was supposed to bring today. And I thought I ought to set it out in the middle of the living room floor so I don't forget it. Then I didn't do it, and I forgot it. So I'll get to take that somewhere this evening because I forgot it. But I don't know, the week that we should be doing a lot of thinking and remembering and reflection. Ain't it crazy how much stuff there is that just fills our mind up and pushes all that to the side and it starts to be forgotten, and to the point where we think something might be wrong with us. Well, there is. We're filling our lives too full of other things that aren't important. They're just not as important. They're important, but they're not as important as other things. And too often I find myself being radical one way or the other. Well, my mind's too full of all this stuff, so we're just going to take all this and throw it away. Well, that's not sustainable, because a lot of what you're going to throw away is important. You just need to find a purpose and balance. You got to prioritize things. So this is going to be a little different this morning, because it's not a lesson about thankfulness. I'm just going to talk about some things that I'm thankful for. I know that we're going to have a little service this afternoon concerning all of this, but I don't know. There's just a few more things I want to say about a few things, and so I'm just going to take this opportunity in Sunday school to say my piece, I suppose. But in Psalms 30, verse 11, it says this: "Thou hast turned for me my mourning into dancing. Thou hast put off my sackcloth and girded me with gladness, to the end that my glory may sing praise to thee and not be silent. O Lord my God, I will give thanks unto thee forever." And, that was a song at the dedication of the house of David. He had a lot of things to be thankful for, and he never let them get too far from his mind. He was a person just like everybody else, with a life very full of choices and consequences, and having to deal with a lot of other people's problems too, and stuff that he hadn't provoked. But still, it's a common theme that you read, especially when you read the Psalms and David, and it was that he was always thankful. He always was thanking the Lord for his goodness to him. And so, I don't know, this past week has been deer season. I only got to hunt a few days, but every year, and I'm not going to stand up here and talk about deer hunting for sure, but every year I get a little less interested in the deer that I kill and a lot more interested in just going and sitting in the woods. I really enjoy it. And it's, I don't know, I guess it's a little different from everybody, but for me, I don't know. If you're going to consider the things that you should be thankful for, it's going to take two things. It's going to take time. You're going to have to take time and stop everything that you're doing. I've sat in the woods deer hunting in the last decade, I'll say, and had a lot of anxiety about the fact that I was sitting out there instead of working, because that usually had a lot of work to be getting done right about November, and I had no time to spare to go sit in the woods and wait for a deer. This year's a little different, and I kind of planned it that way. And I guess maybe that's why I enjoyed being out there this year more than past years. But I don't know. It's you're going to have to take time and pause your life and go somewhere quiet. You need time and you need quiet. The noise that is just the running and gunning that we do every day. You know, it ain't like an audible noise, but it's just a roar. There's no quiet. There's no quiet time. I think about it a lot of times. We'll go to bed and the dishwasher will be running because it works night shift too at our house. And you're laying there in bed and it's supposed to be quiet. And I can hear the dishwasher running. Well, dishes got to get done. But I'm just saying that there's times of our life where there needs to be silence. There needs to be quiet. I don't like living right by the highway. I told her the other day, I said, the older I get, the further off the road I want to be. Why? Quiet. Quiet. Step out on the porch at night and just listen to the night sounds and the quiet. You need it. If you're going to be able to meditate and honestly reflect on your life and the things that you have to be thankful for, you're going to have to take the time to do it. And I'm not talking about 10 minutes. I'm talking about some time. And you're going to have to go somewhere quiet. You know, we live right across from Eagle Sky. And over there, that's a big ranch in our area, and it's 5,000 acres or something like that, and it's a lot of things. But one of the things they have over there is an elk herd. So they have a herd of elk, and they manage them with bulls and cows, and they raise elk and all this stuff. And in certain times of the year, it's crazy because you can step out on the porch, and if you go out there early enough, in between semis going by on the highway, running over the rumble strip, you can hear elk bugling. And it's kind of wild because that's usually something you got to go out west to hear in the mountains at the right time. And then I can stand on my porch and listen to the elk bugle. But as loud as they are, you cannot hear them most of the time because of the road noise. Does it mean they're not there? Nope. You can drive by sometimes and I can see them from the highway. But you can't hear them because the noise is too loud. And thankfulness and reflecting on your life and my life about the things that we need to be grateful for is a whole lot like that. It doesn't mean you're not thankful. And it doesn't mean you're not grateful. And it doesn't mean the Lord doesn't know that you're thankful. But sometimes the noise gets so loud you can't think about it. You can't think about those things. And, you know, last week we started a little series there about, you know, whatsoever things are true, honest, pure, lovely, good report, all that. Think on these things. Well, it's real hard to think about a specific thing. You ought to try it. It's something that I feel like we have subconsciously just evolved away from in our culture, and we don't even realize it until you have to think about a specific thing and study a specific thing, and then it's really hard to keep the loins of your mind girded up about that one thing because there's all these other things just in there bouncing around. And so that's what I want to talk about this morning. There's things that I'm thankful for, and we all have things. We all have things that we're thankful for, but I think that there are things we should be thankful for that we just overlook, or we never consider them to be important or influential in our lives in the way that they are. You know, there's the list of the ones that you'd expect, and rightly so. You know, so I've been making a list this week on my phone while I'm sitting thinking about this stuff. So I narrowed it down, I whittled it down to 5 things first. Would just be if somebody said, "What are you thankful for?" Well, these would probably be the things I'd say, and they'd probably be the things that you'd say too. And, you know, I'll just start out and just read them off and just comment on them a little bit as we go through them. But first of all, when I consider my life and the direction that it has went and the direction that it could have gone, and when I consider who is most influential in my life because of the way my life has went, the first thing I'm really thankful for is my wife. Now, I didn't have a line of girls that I picked from, but she wasn't the only girl in the world that I could have ended up with. I remember some of them that I could have, had I pursued it. And fast forward 26 years, and I'm really glad that things worked out the way that they did. I'll touch on that a little bit later, but I'm really thankful for the wife that the Lord gave me. The longer you go, the less I feel I had very much to do with that. I like to think that I chose her out of all the girls. She's the one that, and I guess I did in the context of the time that I was in at that time. But God is sovereign. And He works in ways we do not see, we do not have any input in, we do not understand, and we can't understand unless He reveals a little bit of it later on down the road. And so I'm thankful for my wife. She's a good wife. And she's good to me. She's not unkind to me. And I am thankful for that, because I know some fellas that have one that is not that way. She is not kind. She does not respect him in any way. And I just don't know. I don't know how much I'd really be interested in life that much. I'm not saying I'd be suicidal. I'm saying that I don't know what there'd be in my life if my wife was absent in the way that I know her now. So I'm thankful. I'm thankful for my wife. I'm thankful for each one of my kids. I'm thankful for Anna and how she changed my life and started the change of my perspective on things. I remember the first time I seen her little face, and I don't know, something was born in me that will never die. It was a different kind of love. And she's the one that opened the ball. And I'm thankful for her, and I'm thankful for her life. And I'm thankful for her husband and her little child. I'm thankful for Alyssa and Zach and Millie. And, look, each one of your kids is different. They bring something different to the table. And Alyssa has always brought something different to the table. And it's not always been negative, not at all. She brought color to everything, and she kind of still does. And her life brings something into my life that I need. You know? Has it always been easy? Well, no. Nobody has an easy road always. But once again, it's just like I was talking to somebody. Here we go, relating to deer hunting again. But, you know, there's a lot more time you spend sitting out there and not seeing nothing but crazy squirrels than you do deer. But if every single day that you walked into the woods, first time you walk in there and the biggest one in the woods walks out and just stands there and lets you shoot him, and then that's it, deer hunting wouldn't be as popular as it is. Why is that? Well, because it's made up of a whole lot more than harvesting a deer. And you got to enjoy all of it, or else you ain't going to enjoy none of it. And it's the same way with your children. I mean, each one of them has their own soul and personality that God gave them. And so I'm thankful for Alyssa, and I'm thankful for Wyatt. And, you know, he's always been Quiet Wyatt. That's what I've always called him. And you got to dig a little bit to find out what's going on in his head. But the older that he gets, the more, we've got to work together this year, just me and him. And I've really enjoyed it. I feel like I've got to know him a lot better. And as I watch him grow, you know, right here, he's at on the threshold of manhood in his adult life, and watching him spread his wings and step out there a little bit and do things. I'm proud of him. And, you know, I'm thankful for what he brings to our life. And the same goes for Madeline. I'm thankful for Maddie. And, you know, she's the only one left at our home now. And it's not easy for her. I never considered this. I was the oldest child in our family, and I left first, of course, and flew away to freedom and happiness and joy and bliss and independence. And I never got to watch and experience what all of my siblings went through. And I took it for granted. And it wasn't that I knew about it and just was like, nah, you're fine. I just never considered it. I never was really aware until I watched my kids go through this. And, you know, if your kids are close, there's a whole new learning experience that has to happen every time one of them flies away. And so, you know, things are different at our home now. And they're not bad. They're not the same. And, you know, I'm very thankful for Madeline, because it's like the three of them had to share the load when Anna left. And then when Alyssa left, Wyatt and Maddie shared the load. And now Wyatt's gone and Maddie's carrying the bucket by herself. And it's not easy. But she's doing a pretty good job of it, with a good attitude and the right attitude. And I'm thankful for that. Thankful for her. Thankful for my grandkids. Special, man. It's another one of those things that I never gave a whole lot of thought about, because it just seemed like an eternity away. And now they call me Pawpaw. They want to hug me. And they're happy to see me most of the time. They're usually more happy to see their memo, but it's a very special thing that I'm still learning how to process, I guess. But it's a different kind of thing to sit and look at them little kids and know that there's a part of me in there, even if I don't see it. But they would have never happened if we hadn't have happened. And so, you know, that the Lord has blessed my life and let me see my grandkids is special, and I'm thankful for it. I'm thankful for my home, thankful for my house. It ain't nothing special, and it needs a lot of money put into it right now. But my goodness, I've seen a whole lot worse, and people living in it. My goodness. And seen them living in that and happy. And I have nothing to complain about. Nothing. If I would complain about what I have, Lord help me. It's aggravating sometimes to have to deal with that breaker that keeps flipping off and don't know why. And but my goodness, I'd be remiss to complain about what I have and what the Lord has blessed me with. And His goodness and His mercy and His grace toward me. Where would we be? But, those are things that just come to mind right off the cuff. And all valid things, all things that I truly and honestly, I am thankful for. I truly am. And I think of those things every day. And I thank God for them every day. And I don't do it ritualistically or habitually, like we're just saying, thank you, Lord, for my wife, and thank you for my kids, and thank you for my grandkids. No, I see them. And in my heart and in my mind, I thank God for them. I'll see, I'll go to the job and I'll see Wyatt pulling up the hill to the job we're working on, and I thank the Lord for him. I try to keep that kind of attitude of gratitude in my heart. Because there's a lot of things in this world that will try to steal that mindset away from you. I mean, you can see the glass half empty a lot if you look for it. But that's not what we're to do. But in quiet meditation, sitting in the woods, watching the squirrels tear the woods apart, or whatever, just sitting in the silence, not listening to a bunch of stuff or looking at my phone or whatever, just sitting. Just sitting and watching the hollers and just being still and thinking. Here's a few things that I wrote down that we overlook. I do. But I'm going to try to integrate them into my first go list, I thank God for opportunity. That's a pretty broad brushstroke. But I think back through my life of the opportunity that I have had for everything. For all the good things that are in my life, there was an opportunity for me to avail of those things. Even the thing about speaking another language. I know people, and they've told me 1,000 times, boy, I wish I could speak Spanish. I wish I could learn another language. And those lines just fell to me. And it was an opportunity. And I could park right there and talk about that whole subject for the rest of the few minutes we have. But, our lives are full of opportunity. We live in the land of opportunity, and we truly do. I know that there's a lot of things that we'd change if we could, but I'm telling you right now, I don't know of another place on the face of this earth where I can throw 2 or 3 rifles in the front seat of my truck and drive off down the road and go to public land and shoot a deer. And I don't know, it's just there's so many things that we don't avail ourselves of that we have at our disposal that are just opportunity to just enjoy what we have. Not to mention the fact that you can go to school, you can learn a trade, then you can go out here and bid jobs and get work, and you can make money, and you ain't having to pay some cartel a big portion of what you're making so they don't murder your family in the night or pay outrageously higher taxes than what we pay. I mean, just start doing a little studying about what other countries pay just in taxes. And we have a lot of opportunity in the place we are. We traveled all over the world or all over the country when I was a kid, and we still like to travel. We've lived in other states and other places, and I'm just telling you right now, I will always circle back and wind up back in this place. We live in a really good place. We live in a beautiful place. And we live in, it's just kind of like a hidden gem, really. There's all kinds of stuff right here around us that is just, I mean, people drive from halfway across the United States to come and see the stuff you drive by every day. They really do. I've talked to them. I've met them. Just like we'll drive all the way out west to go see the mountain, and there's people out there who drive over that pass every day to go to work. Don't even think about it, but we do the same thing here. But I don't ever want to take it for granted. We've lived in other places that were pretty, and I took it for granted. Didn't go visit spots there or whatever. Now we don't live there, and I'm like, man, how'd I live there for all those years, and I never went and seen that place? Drove past it bunches of times to go fishing or something. Literally. Used to drive past Monticello over there, Thomas Jefferson's home, going fishing. To go to the James to go fishing. Drive right through his orchard to go fishing. Anyway, thankful for opportunity. I'm thankful for providential preservation. And to say that in layman's terms, I'm just thankful for all the times that God kept me alive. He preserved me. And it was not me, it was God. And if we really knew how many times He has preserved us, it'd probably terrify us or overwhelm us. But I acknowledge the fact that I am kept. I live and move and have my being, and I have been kept alive by providence. And I am thankful for that. I'm a lot more cautious and careful these days than I have been in my youth, thankfully. Because I did a lot of foolish things when I was younger that could have ended in absolute disaster. And I've seen it happen for others. And somehow, don't ask me why, but providentially, I have been preserved to be able to stand here this morning and talk to you. I'm thankful for second chances and third chances and fourth chances and fifth chances. And how many? How many have I had? More than I can count. Definitely more than I deserved. I'm thankful for the people who've gave me second chances. I'm thankful for God and the chances He's allowed me to have and the times He's allowed me to return to Him. But I am very thankful for the people in my life that have given me the chances that they have. Put up with my foolishness and put up with my bad choices and put up with my hard-headedness. And they still loved me, and they gave me another chance. I'm thankful for that. We all have had those. And it's easy to just move on. It's like water running down the river. I mean, you see it, and there it is, and it goes on, and there's more right there where it was that looks just like it. But our life ain't like that. There's things that we have happened in our life that we shouldn't forget. And the people that have been long-suffering with us because of their love for us ought never to be forgotten. And we always ought to have an attitude and a heart of thankfulness for that. I'm thankful for others' prayers for me. Those second and third and 10th and 50th chances, those people, I guarantee you they prayed for me. And man, I can't begin to fathom the prayers that have been prayed for me. You ever thought about that? You ever thought about how many times someone has mentioned your name to God in prayer? Prayer is one of those things that's almost like hyperbole of religion. It just gets talked about because it's part of it, just like church is part of religion, but it's just not talked about a lot. You ever thought about it? I mean, it's really not. But prayer, I'm just thankful for the prayers that others have prayed for me. When I was lost, when I was running wild, and when I was just walking the edge. You know, that's one of the reasons why you are providentially preserved. You know that? Somebody's praying for you Somebody was praying for me. And I'm thankful for that. I am thankful for a mom and dad who loved me and still do. But have you ever had any dealings, like close dealings, with someone who has never known the love of a father and mother? There's just a big hole right through the middle of them. It's just a big vacuum that's always trying to be filled with whatever they can find to replace that void, to fill that void where a father and mother's love was supposed to be. And somehow, I was one of the people that got to experience that in my life, where I never had to know what that felt like. And I am thankful for it. I'm thankful for that. I am thankful for clarity and vision. Two things that I did not used to possess very much of. Clarity and vision of the past and for the future. Clarity of the past. You know, my mind is not filled with imaginations of things that happened to me that didn't happen. Therefore, my future is not based on a lie or an imagination or a fantasy. My vision for the future is not corrupted by a lie of the devil that has infected my past, the memory of my past. God has given me clarity, clarity of mind of the past, and a vision for my future. On this earth, I'm saying. And I'm thankful for that. Because if you have to deal with people who have a corrupted clarity of their past, then nothing in their life is real. It's not real. It's not based on reality. And they don't have a vision for the future. All they have to look forward to in the future is just more bitterness towards the past. And that's where they live, is in the past. In that made-up thing that didn't really happen. And they waste their life. It's a jail cell of the devil. And he'll keep you right there until you slide off into hell. He steals your life. You have no future. And I wouldn't either if he hadn't given me some clarity and vision. I'm thankful for that. Thankful for it. And like I said earlier, I'm thankful for sovereign overwatch over my discernment. You know, a lot of times you'll hear people say, I thank God that I was able to see this or see that or catch that before it happened or all that stuff. Did you though? I am not smart enough to catch everything, and I am not righteous enough to do everything right. And I am not aware enough, nor can I be, I don't think, of everything that could happen. And so how in the world could I ever take credit for making good choices? Have you ever considered the fact that God in his sovereignty, in his just bigger than me, in his authority in my life, influences my discernment so that I don't make the wrong choice? You ever been up against something you had to make a choice right now? And you didn't know what to do. And you just had to, let's just do this. There wasn't time to go spend a few days seeking the Lord over the decision. You just had to pick one. Did you do that? Or was there some kind of overwatch of your discernment that was beyond you? Well, there has been in my life, because I can look back on it and say, I don't know how in the world I got lucky enough to pick the right. No. It was the Lord. He was guiding my path. Despite me. Despite my own understanding, like you talked about a few weeks ago. So I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful for, here's another fancy way, providential networking. Or let's say the people with whom God has let my path cross. I'm also thankful for the ones he hasn't let my path cross with. But consider this, every person that crosses paths with you in your life, they're there for a reason. And the Lord, if you are truly leaning not to your own understanding and trusting him with all your heart, then you have to believe that everyone, good or bad, that comes into your life in some way are by his hand for a purpose. And there's been infinitely more good people that have been in my life than bad ones. There's been some that weren't bad, they were just challenging. They were a challenge. I had to spend some time trying to understand them. I have some that I still am doing that with. But I am grateful. I'm thankful for the people that the Lord's put in my life, truly. I'm thankful for growth of faith in myself and in others. To quote Paul, I've not yet attained, that's for sure. But I do feel like I feel like I've got a better vision than I did 10 years ago. That's for sure. A little bit better understanding than I did 10 years. A little different attitude of heart towards some things than I did some years ago. And that's growth in my faith. You ought to recognize the growth of your faith. Otherwise, you'll just always be abasing yourself. I'm nothing. I'm down at the bottom. No, grow in grace and knowledge and understanding and grow your faith. And observe the growth. You plant tomatoes in the garden, you go out there, it's 3 or 4 months later, the first time you go see them. No, you're out there every day looking at them. Why? Because you're interested in their growth. You ought to be that interested in the growth of your faith. Tend to it. And take some joy in it. That first tomato that starts to turn, you find it, don't you? You bet you do. Why? Because it's joy. Because of how good it's going to be. Yeah, same way with your faith. I'm thankful for growth in faith. And the growth that I see in others too. It encourages my heart. Certainly does. I'm grateful for and I'm thankful for maturing. Just across the board. There's things that sometimes I'll catch myself saying and think, man, how many more years are you going to keep saying stupid things like that? How many more years are you going to keep having that same stupid reaction to the same thing? Are you ever going to grow up in this? And there's some things I need to work on, and then there's some things that I've seen growth. I'm thankful for maturing. I'm thankful that that's a thing. I'm thankful for restored relationships. There's some that I wish right now that could be restored. I don't know how they ever will be. I don't see a path to it. But then there's been some in my past that I didn't see a path there either. And somehow God worked out a path. And there was restoration. And I'm thankful for that. Those people that have been restored into my life play an important role in my life. And I'm thankful for it. And I'm thankful for time redeemed. Redeemed the time. And then we all just read that verse and we say, we don't do that. And it's a sad thing. And we just lament it. We grieve the time that we've lost. Well, are we ever going to be mindful enough of that to actually redeem some time? I've been trying to a little bit. Like on purpose, try to find ways to redeem time. And I'm thankful for the time you can redeem. That it's a thing you can. Time is one of those things that everybody talks about that once it's gone, it's gone. But what is redeeming time? What's getting it back? That's a concept in the Word of God that is a possibility. Well, time waits for no man. Yeah, that's true. But you can redeem time. That's something to study and think on. That's a kind of a deep subject. But anyway, There's one more thing in my life that I am thankful for, and I'll say this, and it's not necessarily of a spiritual nature, but I turned 47 2 days ago, and I know a lot of guys my age that never knew their grandparents. They were born to older parents or whatever the case was. Grandparents died younger or whatever. But I am thankful that I have my grandpa. Still. He's got to see my grandchildren. And that's special to me. It's a blessing. Length of days, long life, and peace shall they add to thee. And the Lord has blessed us with that in our family. And, Grandpa, I'm thankful for you. You've played a big role in my life. You've influenced me in ways that you'll never know. And the Lord gave that to me by letting you be here all these years of my life. And I'm thankful. I'm thankful for that. And that's just my list of stuff I wrote down and what I had to say about it. Amen.